Module 5, the balloon shed. On Sable Island, working alone is common. The small staff numbers and staggered shift schedule mean that technicians can go 72 hours without seeing another person. Even on a normal day working with the other staff, you might only see another person once a day. A person injured and unable to move might not be discovered for hours or days. The primary hazards identified for technicians on Sable Island are the fire and explosion hazards from working around hydrogen gas. On Sable Island, there have never been injuries from hydrogen gas, but this is still considered a principal hazard. Slip and fall hazards are the most common injury on Sable, in wet, icy, and even dry conditions. Weather hazards are primarily flying debris from high winds, and while no personnel have been injured, there have been close calls. Wildlife hazards due to aggressive seals or wild horses have resulted in injuries. There are additional hazards associated with compressed gases and working with chemicals. Again, Sable Island has no recorded injuries of this type. So for staff working alone and in the presence of identified hazards, a check-in system is required. The national standard specifies that staff working alone should check in at least once every 2 hours, and at more frequent intervals when performing work with elevated hazards. On Sable Island, these requirements are met with a software-based staff alarm system. Since most shift activities occur at specified times and are of known duration, the staff alarm starts a timer when these activities begin and will sound an alarm if the timer isn't cancelled before it counts down to 0. For example, the balloon release is expected to take less than 20 minutes, and the balloon inflation is expected to take less than 35 minutes. When the technician returns to the operations building after balloon release or after filling the balloon, they have to cancel the timer by entering a keyboard command. If the technician fails to cancel the timer will run down to 0 and trigger an alarm. When an alarm is triggered, an alarm tone will sound in the operations building, alerting the technician in case they just forgot to cancel the timer. At the same time, a series of phone calls will be made, cycling through all the staff residence numbers and sounding an alarm tone. When staff at the residence answer the phone, they will recognize the tone and can check on the missing technician. If the alarm is not acknowledged after 15 minutes of phoning the residence numbers, the alarm is escalated and alarm phone calls are made every 5 minutes to the mainland, and Environment Canada will then try to contact the station. A staff alarm timer is therefore activated for any scheduled activity associated with outside travel or those associated with elevated risks. This includes shift start, balloon inflation, balloon release, air chemistry checks or other exterior activities, and shift end. In addition, there may be additional timers to ensure check-ins occur at least every 2 hours. The staff alarm timer can also be triggered manually for staff doing weekly checks or unscheduled work in the balloon shed or work elsewhere in the station. Also, staff leaving the station for a walk or aircraft operations or other activities may choose to trigger this timer. Like all safety systems though, the staff alarm timer is only as good as the staff who use it. This completes the balloon shed familiarization.